Hi, and welcome to the Singer Studio. Today, I want to speak not just to singers, but also to teachers, because if you're helping others find their voice, you carry the most enormous responsibility. And I believe deeply that we owe it to all of our students to study ourselves as teachers, to question, to remain humble, and to learn always. For me, this is one of the most important things about being a teacher, and I wear this responsibility absolutely seriously. There have been many great singing teachers before us. Garcia, Lamperti, Marchesi, Lehman, Lindquist, Reed. Each have passed down not just exercises, but philosophies of singing. If you're teaching someone who has the potential to go on and sing professionally, you owe it to them to fill your bank of knowledge as fully as possible. Because every single voice that comes into your studio or comes into Zoom will bring its own complexities, and every student deserves the best we can offer. We can never reach a point where we think, yeah, I know everything. That's the death of a good teacher. The best teachers I know, and I include my own, the extraordinary David L. Jones, are constantly researching and refining, seeking more clarity. I remember at the Guildhall, Rudolph going for lessons with a lady in New York because he wanted to learn more, and he got angry when I questioned why. The moment we stop learning is the moment we stop serving our teachers. It's too easy to fall into a trap, especially singing teachers who teach a lot of young children and just repeating the same lesson over and over again. And that is very dangerous because, as I said, we need to be completely awake and alive when we teach so that the student that is before us, that is on the screen in front of us, gets the best of our knowledge. Recently, I found myself diving into a school of singing that I realized I did not have enough knowledge about. So I was curious, I was open, hungry to learn. And I came across two fascinating YouTube channels, each presenting their views. One singer, one owner of a YouTube channel, posted a warm-up video, a warm-up routine on their channel, and they labeled it, to my mind, clearly labeled it as an interpretation of this older Italian school of singing. Then I noticed that the other channel that I'm following actually jumped on and left a comment saying that he was misrepresenting the tradition, and he asked him not to spread false information. Now, what followed was a civil and intelligent discussion between these two. I also jumped in, and hopefully I didn't mess it up too much. And I found it extremely interesting because it left me with a really troubling question. Who owns a school of thought? Who guards its purity? And when do we risk becoming a little bit too dogmatic at the expense of the pupil? At the heart of this, I remember something that Rudolph Piernay, and I mentioned this before, once said that the student must remain the method, not the other way around. So, at what point does the adherence to a certain set of principles and techniques that have been laid down by a great thinker and a great teacher before us become something which is a negative for the student? When a student enters my studio, I don't try to squeeze them into a methodology. I adapt, I listen, I observe. My job is to serve them, not my own ego or my allegiance to a single school. But look, this is the troubling part. Here's the rub. If we take too amorphous an approach, if we fail to give the student clear direction, they may never settle into a true technical identity. And sometimes we have to take a bit of a straitjacket approach to this. I've written in my book, The Path of the Singer, which hopefully will be published very soon, about the dangers of becoming a jack of all trades and a master of none. If we dilute the principles of a school too much, the essence could be lost. And how do we honor legacy and remain flexible? Sometimes the student must be quite dogmatic in one approach. It's not always a good idea to be able to sing everything. I strongly believe, and I will always insist, that my students should be able to sing a Schubert song. But they can't always sing a Schubert song like Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau. Sometimes you have to sing, for example, Hans Hotter, who sang Winterreise wonderfully, had to sing Schubert like Hans Hotter sang it, not like Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau. What I'm trying to say is that if you try to become too open to all approaches, you might never do essential work in one area of the voice, and you might lose the ability to be able to develop one area of the voice. When I watch my teacher David Jones teach, it's like watching a master chef. He studied everything. The Swedish Italian school, yes, is his forte, but he understands all about the old Italian principles. He studied the German school, Cornelia van Sant. Even acoustic science, he studied bodywork, Karl Schau, and he can draw from any of these with astonishing adaptability. But does that leave him with a legacy of his own? Perhaps the greater legacy is this: he put the student first. Are we going to be talking about the David L. Jones School of Singing? This incredible knowledge of the whole great pantheon of great singing teachers? For me, the core of teaching is not to be right, but to be useful, not to prove a point, but to help the singer find their own voice. Yes, we must really know the traditions, or we must study these traditions with honesty and with humility, but we must never forget who we serve. If you're a teacher, keep studying, keep learning, never be afraid to ask yourself the hard questions, because our legacy isn't what we knew, it's who we help, who we trained, and who we are passing on to the next generation. So yeah, tricky one this week. I truly believe studying the great schools is important, and I am going to make videos about this in the future where I dive into the various schools of singing. But at the same time, if I get a light soprano come in, I want to be able to help them sing light, agile, flexible music, Bach and Baroque. And if I get someone that could develop a really fantastic low laryngeal, Helden, Spinto, tenor, baritone voice, then I'll work with them as well. And if you want to work with me, check out the links in the description. The beautiful thing about this channel, and as this channel grows, and I'm so excited about the way the channel is growing, is that I am starting to attract people from all over the world, and I am loving it. I teach on Zoom. I always offer the Zoom recording. I'm always available to talk. If you ever want to get in touch anyway and just say you've got a question or anything, get in touch. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Please check out my tribute videos. My Callas video is now live. My Plácido Domingo video will be live next week if you're watching this, or this week, depending on when I put it out. But check the channel. I'm going to do video tributes to all my favorite singers, and then we're going to start talking about great operas and great recordings and great performances. I have so much that I want to talk about on this little channel, and it is making me so happy that so many of you are joining me on this journey of mine, and we're growing a little community on Facebook. Sign up for my newsletter on my webpage. Thank you. It's been becoming such a fun thing for me to do, and I'm loving it. See you in the next video.